Michelle Graves, your host on The Power of Money, and I'm honored to have you as a part of my world in this coming segment. With The Power of Money, as you know, we are interested in three things. First, that you get the necessary education so that you and your family will have the information to do well in these difficult times. The second thing I'm interested in is for you to be empowered to prosper. I want only the best for you, but you can't get that if you don't have the education and then the drive to make it happen. And the final thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is that you be energized. Because life is more than a journey. Life is about living. And so I want you to learn these things and to be empowered and encouraged and energized. I'm Michelle Graves. Now here we go.
And here we go. And again, it's my delight, honor, and privilege to be before you, my viewing audience today, on today's segment of The Power of Money. Again, I'm your host, Michelle Graves, and for the last 40 years, believe it or not, I have been known as the Money Lady. And in fact, and it's somewhat amusing, people recognize my voice and they recognize my brand, which is the Money Lady, which was a title that was given to me by the late Marge Parham, who was the editor and publisher of the Cincinnati Herald magazine, an African-American magazine with a illustrious history of reporting. And I used to write for them. In fact, I wrote for them a money column for over 30 years continuously. And very early in my youth, as you can well imagine, 30 years, I was bringing an article in one evening, and back then we didn't have computers and all of this technology that we have today, good and bad, and I'm going to talk about it because I got to. She stopped me and she said, "You know what, Michelle?" And I said, "What?" She said, "You're the Money Lady." And I said, "The Money Lady?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "That is what your gift is to our community, because you have so much information and knowledge about money." And I would like to say to all of you that are just tuning in or have watched me over the many, many years that I've been doing this, that again, my claim to fame is that I can get the information, I can tap into resources, I'm an influencer, if you want to call it, on issues that impact on consumers. And I'm just delighted to be able to do this show wherever you're watching it. We broadcast in 54 national markets, as well as you can see this entire program on YouTube under The Power of Money with Michelle Graves. And so you have the opportunity to tap into, again, the things that I look at and value and consider so very important for your learning. And again, for information, because what you don't know today, oh, my words, my words, my words, what you don't know today will mess you up. And maybe your family, maybe your neighbors, many others. But information today, and I do mean sound, documented, credible information today is more important than ever. It'll save you misery. It'll save you time. It will, I can't even begin to emphasize how important it is. And so on today's subject, I'm going to talk about, have you been scammed? Yeah. Have you been scammed? Or have you been hacked, if you have a computer perhaps? But again, I'm going to talk about this subject, not that I was planning on talking about this subject today on this show. I was planning on talking about another subject, but something happened to me that let me know that we are in very, very serious times, and that all of us have to have our antennas open. All of us have to begin to protect ourselves, protect our families, Protect our neighbors. Exactly. Neighbors. Some of you don't even know who your neighbors are because you're so busy being busy that you neglected to relate to the people that are in your area that can help you in difficult times. And I'm not talking about financially necessarily, but good neighbors will keep a watch over your house. Good neighbors will let you know if things looked odd or they saw things. And I say this because I am blessed in my community to have amazing neighbors. I live in a suburb of Cincinnati, Kenwood. And again, my next door neighbor is an elderly woman that's in her 90s and used to be involved in everything, but now she's in her 90s, but she's sharper than a pen. And anything that's going on, since she's right across the street, she sees. And we are friendly with each other. She's a beautiful woman. And she keeps me posted on a whole lot of stuff. Our neighborhood itself, our cul-de-sac, we have a neighborly gathering where we all share information, share communications. And again, this is what is required today. You don't know what's going on out here. Now, I also say for those of you that are computer savvy, and if you're not, you better go to school and learn how to be computer savvy, because this is where we're heading. But there's an awesome application, an app they call them, called Nextdoor. And this is, again, my primary go-to on stuff that's happening in my area of the city. People post on break-ins, people post on services, people send out warnings, dogs lost, cats lost, everything is a community. And if you are not involved with Nextdoor, I encourage you, particularly those of you that are seniors, you cannot live in a cave. You have to be actively engaged in what is going on out here with all of us, children, adults, seniors, animals, research, all of that. Next app. I'm not being paid to do this endorsement. I keep up with Next app on everything from store closings to store openings to break-ins. They sent out a warning yesterday about 3 men in a red car that were breaking into garages. Right. A lot of you don't lock your garage. Well, guess what? Other people are watching as well and know your moves and know your movements. Lock your garages. Lock your doors. Lock everything that has a lock attached to it. Make sure your windows are locked. Don't leave your windows half open. These should be simple things. In past, we didn't. I grew up in a rural community. They didn't lock any doors. They didn't lock any windows. We knew everybody. Nobody did this kind of stuff. But we're not in those times, okay? This is not Rumpelstiltskin. We're not in those times. And there are people that watch your movements. Now, am I asking you to go into the realm of paranoia? No. But as I tell people, wake up, okay? Wake up. And then be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of people that are not normally in your neighborhood if you live in a neighborhood like that. If you're in high rises, in apartments, again, it's a little more challenging, but people should not have access to your building if they are not tenants. I don't care who it is. They should not have keys to your building. If they're coming to visit, the person should meet them at the door to make sure that they're letting in that person and not somebody else. It can happen in a blink of an eye. A disaster can happen in a blink of an eye. And I'm not advocating paranoia. I'm not advocating all these things, but I am telling you, you had better be awake and you had better be aware of everything. and know who you can contact on a moment's notice if there's a problem. Now, we're entering into a very, very shaky period in our country's history. We've always had issues with criminals and the lower element, as I call them. But today, you don't know who is and who isn't. Like I told one woman, she said something. I said, you don't know him. She met him on an app, a date app. And she said, oh, he's so nice. I said, but you don't know anything about him. Are you prepared to do the necessary vetting before you even go near him? And frankly, do not ever entertain the thought of bringing him into your home. You can meet him. You can vet him. You better make sure that this person is what you think he is, because many of us filter through our own wants and needs, and it has nothing to do with that person. But I'm just saying to you, be awake and be aware. And as I tell people, I'm very awake and I'm very aware. And no, I don't take anything for granted. Some things have changed in my own professional life. Number one, I used to do late hours at my office. In fact, many times I stay all night because I had a wonderful sofa and all the accoutrements of a professional practice. And I'd be working and I just pull out my blanket and turn on the TV and the building's safe, so you think, and there you go. But again, I don't do that. When the sun goes down, I'm out. There's nothing worth my life. People can break in. And the reality is, in our complex, we have security, but the reality is in a city, you have the sheriff's department, you got the police department. But when the act occurs, they have to be contacted. And that's time. And time may cost you your life. Time may impact on your recovery time if you have to be hospitalized. You cannot continue blindly doing this. So why am I talking about the subject today? I've been scammed, because this is major right now. And on top of all the other things I got going in my life, it happened to me, okay? And it's happening so frequently that if you're not alert, maybe I should add that to aware, okay, and awake, alert, I was not alert to it, and therefore it turned out to be messy, okay? And some things are not recoverable, okay? I'm just telling you, some things you can lead a perfect life and have stuff happen to you, and your life is then in ruins. Case in point with technology today. Have you been the victim of identity fraud or theft? Have you? Because a growing number of people are. Now, 20-something years ago when this term came out, and I researched, and at that time I said, oh, this may be overkill. I'm a banker, I'm a financial person. You got to be kidding me. Well, thanks to technology, people can get your stuff. They can get your stuff. And then they can sell your stuff to other criminal elements. And then they can mess up your stuff. Because in banking, it's a credit-driven system, meaning name, social security number, employment, driver's license, blah, blah, will open up the door for people to get loans, for people to get cars, even for people to get mortgages based on a very limited but concise database that's very efficient. You can lose your identity. Now, before you say, but I don't want to pay for identity protection. Well, let me just say to you, you don't want to deal with the consequences of somebody getting your name and your social security number, which goes very closely into what I'm going to talk about today. which is you must be ever diligent and ever protective of giving anyone, anybody, any situation that you don't know personally your information. People do not need to know where you live. Why? Because if they Google it, they're going to find it anyway. So why make it easy by telling them your address when they call on the phone? I am amazed at the people that will give people what I consider private information. Do you not know you can type up your address? If you have a homeowner, it will pull up, thank you, a picture of your home. It'll pull up all kinds of information that you really may not want somebody to know. I mean, not that I am a super private person, but I really don't want people coming to my residence. That's my sanctuary. Now, maybe you don't have that going on. Maybe you don't care. But many of us do care. And the shock for me was when a friend said some years ago, type in your address, and I did, and woof, phone number, address, tax, everything, my age, everything to the general public. I went into total and complete disbelief. And then I said, I can't have this. I can't have this. I'm not a married woman. I don't have anybody to shoot people that show up uninvited. I'm just being extreme here. But with all the events that are now occurring, I'm beginning to wonder, okay, people pulling up in your driveway by accident and getting shot and killed. I mean, that is unthinkable. And it would have been unheard of not too long ago. But here we are today. So I'm saying to you, be private about yourself. That's about being awake. Know that your information can be found, but geez, make them work for it. Make them do something for it. Don't just hand it to them, okay? Don't say, well, I don't want to be rude. Be rude, all right? Be rude, period. Why do I say that? Because it may cost you something. The minute you open up your door, you're now into another realm. I mean, for real. You need to know that. And this is not to disparage the religious groups that go door to door. I know you all are catching a hard time because nobody is willing to hear your story. Nobody's willing to listen to you. And more people are like, you just need to get off my property and go away. These are sad and sorrowful times that we are in. Really, I call them the lack of love, because that is exactly what's going on. But let's get down to the crux of it about this scamming thing. The first thing, and I want to give all due credit before I say much more, AARP, of which I am a member, in their bulletin that published in April, a must-read for all seniors and everybody else. You can go to your public library and get the AARP bulletin if you're not a subscriber. But they did a whole thing, and it was excellent, on frauds and scams. And I am going to take the liberty of sharing with you some of the material that they disclosed, because it was great, powerful stuff, if you will do it. Because it's going to come your way. Oh my gosh, it's going to come your way either through a robocaller, which is a machine that dials numbers and waits for people to pick up, to humans soliciting for donations that you don't want to give, all the above. The first rule of thumb is learn the art of click, click, and click. That's for the phone. Okay, a person calls, the first thing you need to not be surprised at is if they address you by your first and last name. Good evening, Mrs. Blankety Blank. I'm calling you this evening. Don't go, click. Some people, that's so rude. What's ruder is you've just invaded my space and you want something. My money, my time, my resources, my help. Unless you know the person that is calling you, the response is click. And I know for older generational people, that's hard because you're so trained. Weren't we trained to be pleasant? And weren't we trained to be cooperative and friendly? Put a line through all of it. Put a line through it. Click. All right? Now, in a commonly used scam, a point of entry that they have other than your name, which everybody can get that information, that's not hard, is they will do, oops, wrong number. And you, when they say that, again, it can come by a live land phone or it can come by a text. And texts are so popular today, and you can't block them. You can delete them. Therefore, when you get a text that is asking you for things or sharing with you opportunities, delete it. Don't respond. Don't press stop. Just delete it. Go to the top of your phone and delete it. Delete it. No conversation necessary. And then you can say, but what if that was an important call? Trust me, it wasn't. Okay? And what they want you to do, because texting and all those phone numbers are now in the public arena. Okay? Your phone number can be used to text, just like they use it to call. My response to you as a viewer is the same. Delete on a text, click on a phone. If it is that important, they will leave a message. Okay? Most will not, because they're really not interested in telling you anything about themselves. They're interested in finding out about you and what you can give to them, which is in the short time they have you, can you get credit card information? Will you give them information about credit cards, about your money, about where you bank? It is unbelievable how many people give away personal, confidential, and proprietary information to strangers. I mean, when they're on the phone, you don't know them. Their job is to be able to get information from you that they can use, they can sell, or they can target you again for another scam. Because once you get in the system, ladies and gentlemen, trust me when I tell you, you don't want to get in the system. It's like solicitation letters to make donations. And no disrespect to many of the legitimate solicitors, but I tell you as a truth, I don't open up anything that I don't recognize. I'm not giving money to any organization that I personally do not know, cannot check out, and don't recognize. I simply tear the envelope up and put it in a garbage. Next. You say, geez, she is really fierce. And I will tell you, yes, I am, because we're now living in a time in history where my fierceness is nothing to compare with the fierceness of scammers and hackers who are stripping us of billions. Did you hear me? Billions of dollars in money that disappears into the ether realm, never to be seen again. I can give you all kinds of stories, testimonies, things I have witnessed myself. And people are like, I didn't believe it happened to me. Well, I don't know why you didn't. You're just a number. You're just an opportunity. These people are making billions of dollars on your naivete. Remember, I said, be awake, wake up, Come up out of your sleepy state and be aware. And I put a third one, be alert. Okay? You are not required, for the record. This is the new etiquette. You do not have to answer the phone. Now, if you're in a business, that's different, because a phone ringing could be business opportunity, could be, client potential. A business is not personal. I'm talking about personal stuff, okay? And that is that unless you want to be used, because they're calling you because they want something from you, okay? Antennas up, not today. Not today, not period, okay? The government cannot protect you like you think. Why? Because we're in an information and computer age, and things go in milliseconds. Money moves swift and fast. And now the Federal Reserve is getting ready to introduce FedNow. In case you don't know about it, type it in. Because the Fed is going to be accepting transactions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Money will be moving everywhere, coming in and going out, which means one side of it is, what a wonderful convenience for me to be able to pay my bills and know it's going to be credited. But here is the underbelly of the whale. Just like you'll have freedom to move money, so will scammers. They'll move your money in a hypersecond, and there's nothing you can do that fast over into some other country, some other jurisdiction where we have no control. I'm telling you, it is not smooth and easy. You must be awake, aware, and alert. You must respond by taking care of you. Do not respond to any text, and I'm guilty of this, of any text from a number you don't recognize. Now, the sad thing about my circumstances is because I am a public figure and my number in business is no secret, people can text that number, and they do, and I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. But as soon as they start saying, can I talk to you? Delete. Delete. If a person is your friend, they're not going to text, can I talk to you? Okay? Don't even respond. Delete. Okay? Use that finger. Delete. Boop. Delete. Why? Because it sets you up. Don't type stop as you're instructed. Remember, they're now telling you what to do. You tell them what to do by pressing delete. Okay? Doesn't matter who it is, delete. Okay? If you are on any platforms outside of your regular phone, or Android or iPhone, and you're into one of the social media apps, Messenger or WhatsApp, or so many that are out here today, it's kind of hard to remember. But same thing. If you accept them as a friend, and I don't do it anymore, I don't care who you are, I'm just too scary right now about it. And I found that many of those people that were friends were not friends. They had been hacked. And the person that was communicating to me was somebody, they faked their picture, they faked everything, and they were soliciting me. They were soliciting me. And when that happens, you have to go and you have to delete them from your friend account, and then you have to remove them from your Messenger or communication accounts. A step that could have been avoided if you never made them your friend to begin with. And hackers are very smart. They will lift up, and they can legally, all your friends' personal information, and you will say to yourself, well, I think they're already my friend. Well, welcome to the world of hacking. They've just taken your friend's information and created another account, And they're now going to harvest all your friends' friends. Because we're like, oh, wow, she's got another account. So my recommendation on that, for those of you that are Facebook friends and Instagram and Twitter and all that, is you better make sure that the person you're talking to is the person you should be. Because you've now given them access to all of your friends. And they can use you and this fake identity to call your friends. Your friends don't know, oh, that's Michelle, she's doing another account. No, I'm not. So what I have done when people are asking for invitations and they do, can I be your friend, can I be your friend? I don't even do it anymore. Why? Because my Facebook account is public. Meaning you don't have to be my friend to get information about what I'm doing. But it does not give you access to my Messenger and other social platforms. You can just read about different stuff, and I'm good with that. And you can remark in the remarks area, but you don't have access to me. Okay? And that is important. Hackers want access to you, your information, your network, and what you can do for them. If I get another solicitation from a hacker talking about that I have befriended in error, and they go into this diatribe of, have you heard about this free money and this free grant information, and I got $100,000 delivered to my door by FedEx. Are you that stupid? And again, trying to be nice, I type back, you cannot use my account in this venue. And they continue on like I hadn't said anything. Well, now you're dealing with what they call a bot, which is not even a human. It's programmed to do these things. So you got to go back and you got to delete, and then you got to let your friend know to post that they've been hacked, so everybody else is on alert. Okay? Things are complicated and messy. And can you slip up and mess up? Yes, you can, because these are fast-moving targets. Bam, 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 bam. They got 1 million names to go through in an hour. And that's why a lot of this is computer bots. They just are programmed to call, engage, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money. Take this, take that, get this, get that. Establish some kind of relationship so they can take your money. Again, how does this happen with people that you do not know? Well, I'm going to tell you how it happens. With many seniors, it happens because they're lonely, particularly if they're women, widows, alone. She doesn't know much. She hasn't done much. And then all of a sudden, she gets a communique from a person. It can be by phone, it can be by text, it can be by face. She gets a communique. And the person, you know, gets information and they begin to engage in conversation. That wrong, hang up. I just read where a woman exhausted her entire life savings. Right, all of it, not a penny left, to a person that doesn't even exist. Yeah, doesn't even exist. And you say, how is that possible? Excuse me, don't act like it can't happen to you, because the statistical probability of it happening to you is unbelievably high if you're in certain circumstances, meaning you're going through grieving, or you've lost a job, or you're going through depression, or you're having a bad day, or you're a single female and older and looking for friendship and companionship, which is why I am so leery of dating apps. Why? Because people can create an alter ego and not even be that person. Now, I've had friends and not more. I mean, they've gotten married to these people, but I'm telling you, you got to take a lot more time to make sure that who you're talking to is who it is. I'm not going to speak against dating apps other than to tell you I don't do them because I got to see what I'm looking at. And if it looks crazy, you don't have to worry about ever communicating with me because the phone number I gave you is not legitimate anyway. What did you just say, money lady? I sure did say it. Why do you want to give out your phone number to a stranger based on a sweet conversation, male or female, because scammers are both sides. They're completely non-discriminatory. They come in every race. They come in every age group, and male, female, everything. Their goal is to take what you got, and they do it by engaging you into a conversation that hopefully for them will result in money, extraction. The fact that it left you penniless and hurt and devastated in so many cases, well, that's the way it goes, dummy. Exactly. So I'm here today because this is painful. The other thing is, and this is big right now, where they will contact you by email and say that they can't deliver your package. They have a symbol that looks like the post office. Very credible looking. And for me, because I have a lot of packages in financial services, I'm like, oh my God, who's sending me a package? Don't open up that email. That is nothing but malware trying to infect your computer and shut you down. Oh yeah, blow you out over a fake piece of information. If you haven't gotten a package delivered that you were due, you need to check with the post office. And not to be sarcastic, but good luck with that. Okay? If the person didn't send it to you certified or have some tracking number attached to it, then it may be in the abyss lost. I mean, really, not to be disparaging of the U.S. Postal Service, but no, don't get scammed by that. Another thing that's very common today, in addition to the post office, is fake barcodes on gift cards. You make sure when you get a gift card that that barcode has not been added, because when you go to use it, that code will in fact zero your bank account out. Yeah. The fake barcode at the checkout is real. You say, who does that? A whole lot of people do. A whole lot of people do. So be careful, okay? Be careful. It's real. You make sure that the number on the barcode matches the number on the packaging. If not, there's a problem. Don't purchase if the barcode is applied on a sticker. That's not going to work. Okay? Crypto refund swindles. If you've lost money in a cryptocurrency scam, and many of us, not me, because I told you all a long time ago, I'm not an advocate of Bitcoin. Is it legit? I can't tell you because I'm not involved. Well, JP Morgan's involved. Good, let them lose the billions. They're playing. I didn't say all crypto was bad, but you don't have the expertise or the knowledge to dip. But a lot of people dip because, again, they were promised something that could not be. But be aware that if you've lost money, you're not going to get it back by the government. They're not insured by the government the way bank accounts are. With bank accounts, FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, $250,000 coverage, boom, there you are. But cryptos are, wild, wild west. You put the money in, you don't get the money out if it blows. That's just the way it goes. And be aware. I tell people I get solicitations all the time. All the time. Some legitimate, some actually feel-good people that think I could make money. I'm not interested. At 71, do I look like I'm interested in giving you my money? And I'm serious about it. And you need to be serious about it. If you worked hard for your resources, why would you hand them to a stranger? You need to, excuse me, the studio's a little cold. You need to verify and you need to validate. You need to do this. You need to verify and you need to validate. You need, if you can't read the fine print, pay an attorney to read the fine print. Better to pay an attorney $500 or $1,000 than you lose $10,000. That's simple math. Pay an advisor who knows this industry to do the vetting if you don't know how to do that. Okay, most people are honest people. I believe that. I do. But there's a whole bunch that aren't. I mean, are we so blind to the fact that Mr. Madoff, interestingly, Madoff, stole all of this money in a Ponzi scheme that was phenomenal and successful for him until it unraveled, which is what Ponzi schemes always do. Don't say it can't happen. Again, I'm awake, I'm aware, and I'm alert, okay? I'm alert. You want to be careful, careful, careful about a couple of things that I think you need to know. And that is that when you let a criminal in on your bank account information, you had just better get your money and close that bank account because they're going to get it, and probably faster than you because they are technically savvy. They use electronic systems, and if you've given them the information they need, then here you go. All righty? Now, let's talk about, for the business people, romance scandals, all that. You get a message on LinkedIn. I'm a member of LinkedIn. It's a business person's portal. People that are actually in executive positions, working positions, they become a part of LinkedIn. I've been a part of LinkedIn for almost 18 years. I use it to read up on people, to learn about people. But there are a number of growing complaints about business relationship scams. And this, again, is about getting a message, wanting them to, what they want to do is befriend you, play on your ego. Would you be my mentor? The whole goal, again, is they can create a fake identity, create a relationship with you, and then go in for the kill, particularly on crypto. Particularly on crypto. Okay? Now, for you crypto enthusiasts, don't be mad at me for protecting people from you, because nobody wants to lose their money. And you don't want to be in a situation where you are talking to a scammer. And again, the tactic is so elegantly simple. They want to play to your ego. They want to play to your experience. They want to play to your accomplishments. And frankly, again, if you don't know them, or if you're not connected to someone that knows them, then I don't think I would want that relationship. I have been very lukewarm on mentoring anyway. Why? Because in the day that I grew up, mentors were very few and very busy. And they just didn't engage because you wanted them to be your mentor. So what? Okay? Dry land wants water. So what? So you have to look at those things. LinkedIn will flag requests to go off platform, meaning people want to talk to you personally, as it tries to remove fake accounts. But the problem is there are millions of people out here that do this because it's easy money. Okay, so again, another scam that people fall into is that the email sends a notice that the company is out of stock for the product you want. Where's your refund? Well, many times, and I fell victim to this, and I'll be very candid with you, I fell victim to this on Facebook because I ordered a bed that let out. It was a great price. In fact, that should have been my alert signal. The price was amazing. I thought it was a U.S. company. It was only after I placed my order that I discovered that it was a made in China company. Red flag, red flag. Yeah, I said it. And you know what? I'm out of $50. And fortunately, they did not, because the card I used to pay them was a card that was not mine. I created a gift card thing which had a number on it, and that's what I paid. That's what I pay with all online anymore, because I don't trust anybody with my information. Remember what I said, they want your information so that they can take your stuff, your identity, your money, your bank accounts. This is what they're gunning for. So these guys rip me and millions of others off on this particular scam. Can we get it back? In my particular case, it's gone. Why? Because it was done on a gift card. And I took the risk and I paid the price. I'm being open with you all. The money lady got scammed too on what I thought was a safe venue, Facebook, sponsored. Don't do it, okay? I'm just serious. At least if it was made in the USA, I might have some recourse with the Attorney General from the state that the manufacturing company is in, if that even happens, okay? Most of these scams, though, are not U.S. companies. The manufacturing is in another country, and I'm just saying you may be lucky and get your stuff. I've had more women complain to me about ordering clothing from another country, stylish, affordable, and the package never arrived. Or when the package arrived, it looked terrible. In the United States, we operate under what we call best practices. In the business world, we don't send you crappy stuff unless you're aware because you paid a crappy price. Excuse me. But that's not the case in other countries. So you want to be aware of this as you move on out of the way. I'm saying all of this, and I've only covered a few things because there's so much going on right now that it is absolutely frightening. I'll also say, if you have a computer and you clicked into one of those sponsored sites because you were curious to see, they know just what's going to get your curiosity. And you see these ads run over and over and over again, and you're like, geez, what's the point? Because they know that frequency will get your attention. And so you have all of these sponsored ads. Well, one of the things about a sponsored ad, it may not be what you thought. And you may wind up opening up a site that is prepared to suck all of your information out. If that comes up, turn off the computer. Don't try to keep Xing and getting out. Turn it off. Shut it down. Pause and do something else. And let this be a lesson to you. Do not go down rivers that you cannot navigate. Okay, I tell people, I'm not that smart when it comes to technology. And now that they're talking about artificial technology that you will think is a human and it's not, and all of the things that are coming down the pike, good and bad, I will say again, be aware, be awake, be alert. Know what is coming down the pike for anybody. Anybody. And that doesn't mean that you cannot trust people, but it does mean that you better be very, very careful about everything you do. Things are getting very tight. Inflation is doing exactly what I said it was going to do well over 2 years ago now. I said it on this, I said it's coming, it's here. I told you the Ukraine war wasn't going to be resolved quickly. Why? I don't know, but I know that. I know that partnerships that were unspeakable are now in progress. I know that the Saudis are talking to the Chinese. I know that India is talking to the Chinese. Do I think China will do it to Taiwan? Well, I think you need to count on that. What are the Taiwanese people going to do? Well, as I told one of my American citizen friends that's there, catch your money and get up out of there. You don't know anything about them, and they don't know anything about us. They think we're simple-minded, slow learners who just want to spend money. Why do I know that? Because I lived in mainland China 20-something years ago, and it opened up my eyes to the fact that we're not all that peachy goody-goody. There are people out here that despise this country. They despise us because humility is not a part of our signature. We let everybody know, America, okay? Well, we're in a different time because people don't care. They're trying to do their thing, make their money, take care of their families, and the heck with you, okay? I would admonish Americans to do the same. Take care of you, take care of your family, take care of your neighborhood, be friendly so that you know who belongs and who doesn't belong in your neighborhood. That's important. And don't be anybody's fool. Learn the art of hang up and click. I have one other thing, and that's very important, and that is that, excuse me, if you have not gotten your credit report, you can get it free by going to annualcreditreport.com. It's a free service made available from all 3 reporting agencies once a year. You need to look at your report, see if it's correct or if it isn't correct, and then they have a system for getting these things resolved. It's very important that you look because it'll show you if there's been any unusual activity. Okay, now it's a shame to say this, and I won't say it too loud, but I do know that family members will use credit cards of other family members without knowledge or consent. And when they find out, well, here you go, because the police will not prosecute unless you're willing to prosecute. And people, I said, now you know your brother's a thief. Your mother's a thief. Your dad's a thief. But at least you know. And you know who's been looking at your account. And the question is, why? Okay? The other thing you want to know is that you can freeze your credit report. It prevents scammers from opening new credit cards or making big purchases in your name. You can unfreeze. You're not closing the account. You're just freezing the account. If you have any reason to believe that, your account is vulnerable, you can freeze it. It's perfectly legal and legitimate. The other thing we want to be careful about when you're using credit cards, and I definitely prefer credit cards over debit cards, because if there is a dispute, and you've paid by debit, you can't do anything because that's cash. But a credit card, again, can be researched, and the bank can freeze the entire transaction until it is investigated. That is perfectly fine with me. They have bigger resources, bigger tomahawks than you do. So again, you can pay your gasoline and all these other stuff on credit cards. Take advantage of the rewards, give back if you wish. That's available with most of the companies today. The other thing I want to share with you, and this is very important about your mailbox, and that is that, number one, be aware that there is major scam activity with these lovely looking boxes that are outside. Many of you may have heard about them. I can bear witness because my father almost lost. In fact, he did. Someone robbed their post office box, the big one outside. He pays his a newspaper bill, $50. Somebody took all the mail, had a key, took the mail, and altered his check to $50,000. And then proceeded to deposit it, and it stripped his bank account. Bam. Not just him. This was a quiet little conversation, but we had to sue or threaten to sue the bank to put the money back into his bank account. Why? Because they should never have negotiated an altered check. If you alter a check, you have to initial, and then the bank still has the freedom to reject the check. This is a huge bank that did this. And I won't drop their name because they're huge. They're a huge local bank. He doesn't want problems. He got his money back after retaining counsel and threatening to take them to court. Can you imagine taking your bank to court because they cashed a check that they were not authorized to cash? That's called bullying. Don't be bullied. Can I close out on that note? Don't be bullied. Don't. Demand what's yours and be prepared to fight. But when you fight, fight with an understanding that it's going to be a fight. And it's kind of like a rabbit in a rabbit's hole. The rabbit may very well disappear and never come back. But at least you will have held your dignity in place and gotten what you could get. He was fully restored with bank apologies. But I wanted to tell the bank, and I need to send you the daggone legal fee that he had to pay to come after you to get his money. Now you can say, well, he needs to close his account. Well, he wouldn't. He's an old man. He gets his Social Security checks, his investment checks, dividends, all that goes in that account. And he said, that's just too much work. They gave me my money and I'm going on. His choice, his decision. I wouldn't have done it that way, but I'm from a different generation. You know, at 93, he can do whatever he wants. And I say this to seniors all the time. If you don't want to fight and you want to get run over, then nobody's going to fight. Nobody's going to advocate. But if you do want to press the fight, there are alternatives. If you can legitimately prove this has happened. You can always call your local state attorney general's office and file for a complaint. You can file. You can file. Now, you can also file with your local law authority on this as well. Giving you some alternatives. Is it going to be easily resolved? Take a number. Everybody's getting hit. But be well advised that at least you will have the satisfaction of knowing that you did try to get some kind of justice and restoration. Now, unfortunately, for a lot of people, there will not be restoration. But I'm here to tell you that in many situations, state fraud departments are going after people, and people are going to jail, and they're going to jail not as long as I wish they were going to jail. I read one man that did a scam, and he ripped off, I think it was close to $100 million. And he's going to do 5 years in jail. Now, the people were not restored other than knowing he was going to be in prison for 5 years, of which I don't want to sound cynical, but what do you think they do in prison? They get better at what they do. But they didn't give him isolation, which I think is a good status. Go to jail, you'll be in isolation for 5 years. By yourself, meditating, doing whatever you need to do. If we're going to give you 5 years, you're going to spend it by yourself in solitary. Another man I read got 2 years. I don't think that's enough time. I really don't, for them having ruined people's lives. But this is where we are today. And I want you to be keenly aware that this is where we are and that you need to take necessary precautions for yourself. I'm Michelle Graves, wrapping up today's segment of The Power of Money on Have You Been Scammed? Take care, God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.